Good evening, fifth graders. This is Rachel here. I'm going to be teaching you your lesson tonight. We're going to be talking about properties of polygons. Tomorrow in class, we'll actually be playing a game. It's called Polygon Capture. It'll be pretty fun. But in order to play that, we got to make sure we understand the basic properties that make up polygons. So, what is a polygon? Well, a polygon is a shape, all right? But in order for a shape to be considered a polygon, it must meet these four requirements. First, it must have at least 3 sides. So we're thinking maybe triangle, that would be considered a polygon. A square, also be considered a polygon. However many sides, as long as it has at least 3. Next, it cannot have any curved sides. So a circle or an oval would not be considered a polygon since they are curved. Next, it cannot have any open sides. So what I mean by that is if we had a shape like this that is not entirely closed there on the top, that would not be considered a polygon. Lastly here, the sides cannot intersect. So what I mean by that is if we had a shape that looks something like that, that would not be considered a polygon because we can see right in the center that the lines are intersecting. But if all 4 of these requirements are met, we have a polygon. However, if you break one of these rules, the shape is no longer considered a polygon. Let's do a little bit of some mental math here. Our first term is parallel. We use parallel to describe lines that are the same distance apart. They'll never meet. They will go on forever without intersecting. So we can look at some lines here. These 2 lines are considered to be parallel. They kind of look like some railroad tracks. Next, we have perpendicular. These are lines that intersect at right angles. Remember that our right angle is an angle that is 90 degrees. So kind of think about this one as maybe an upside down T. You can see these 2 lines are intersecting and it's forming a right angle right there. If you want to think about it in a little different way, you can hold your arms straight out from your sides. Your arms are currently parallel to the ground. You are forming right angles with your arms. If you lower your arms down a little bit, you are now forming an acute angle. If you turn your arms and put the fingertips on the ground and your other fingertips up in the sky, you are now perpendicular to the floor. All right, you're forming a 90 degree right at your fingertips. Keep on going here. Here you can see an example from your journal entry. We'll talk a little bit more about this in class tomorrow, but you can see here they are showing the tops of some polygon shapes, and they're going to ask you to finish drawing the shape based off of what you can see. But we'll talk about that some more tomorrow. Now here you can see our game that we'll be playing tomorrow. This is Polygon Capture. We'll be cutting out all of these shapes in class tomorrow. We'll take a look at a few of them right now. If we look at H here up in the corner, we can see that this line here and this line here are parallel lines. They will not intersect or meet at any point. However, this line here and this one, if I can draw a straight line, these lines are perpendicular to each other. You can see that right here, they are forming a right angle, so they are perpendicular. Now if we look over at shape M, we can see that this line and this line are parallel. They're not going to intersect. However, this line and this one here, these are not considered to be perpendicular lines. Why? Because this angle right here is not a right angle. That is an acute angle. Remember, an acute angle is an angle that is less than 90 degrees. So all these shapes here are all polygons, but not all of the sides are parallel to their opposites or perpendicular. We'll take a look at those tomorrow. Here are some of the clues that we'll be working with when we're playing our game. The first one, all opposite sides have the same length. It's pretty easy to understand. Probably the easiest example would be a square. All sides, same length. Next, some sides have the same length. It's pretty easy to understand there. Lastly there, all opposite sides are parallel. Remember, parallel means that the sides are not going to intersect. Next, we have all sides of the same length. So an example of that would be an equilateral triangle. Remember, an equilateral triangle every side of the triangle is the same length. Now when we have a polygon that has all the same length on its sides, we can call that a regular polygon. All right, regular polygon, all of the sides are the same length. Next, there are no parallel sides. The next one says only one pair of sides is parallel. Keyword there is only one pair of sides. If there are two pairs of sides that are parallel, you cannot capture that polygon because it does not meet the requirements. Next, there are no right angles. Remember, a right angle is an angle that forms 90 degrees. All angles are right angles. Pretty easy example of that would be a square or a rectangle. Next, we have at least one angle is more than 90 degrees. Remember what the name for that is? That is an obtuse angle. An obtuse angle is more than 90 degrees. Next, there's at least one acute angle. Remember, acute means that the angle is smaller than 90 degrees. Next, there are one or more right angles. And finally, there is only one right angle. So an example of that would be a triangle that looked something like this here. We can see there's only one right angle right there. So we'll be taking a longer look at that tomorrow when we play our game. It'll be a pretty fun time, so I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully this has given you a better understanding of the basic properties of polygons.